everyone, welcome to Faith Unfiltered with Blessing, a platform where we talk about real issues in the life of a believer. Joining me today is a wonderful woman of God, Queeneth Umanah. We'll be discussing about a topic called Christian burnout. This is one topic that Christians avoid talking about. Okay, she's going to briefly introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, and we have so much to talk about. I'm
Yes.
Queeneth. I'm a nurse, a Christian, and a baker. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Queeneth. Welcome, Queeneth. Yes. So we'll be speaking about Christian burnout today. Christian burnout is a season in a life of a believer where they feel disconnected, they feel spiritually dry, even though there's this exhaustion for spiritual things, even though they love God, they want to serve God, they have the zeal, the desire to serve God. But there's that exhaustion, they're just dry, no motivation. Is that something real? Is there something like that? Or do you think there are believers who are experiencing such things?
Yes. Christian burnout is a reality, just as we have the regular burnout that people experience, which is like being too little motivated, too little care for like the things they love to do. It's the same thing is applicable also in the Christian life. So burnout is something that is real. That means Christian burnout is possible, whereby a believer could still be very occupied with activities, but deep down the person is tired. Yes, the person is tired.
You know, there are some Christians who even they go when they tell you that they are burnt out, you keep wondering how, because you've been in church. In fact, you come to church every day, you are involved in almost all the departments, but then when you see them talk about this, and by the time they are saying it, it's too late. Maybe they've crashed down, they've just decided to stop altogether. So this is why we are having this discussion, so that we let people know that these things are real, it's happening, it's not something to feel ashamed about or feel like, oh, people are going to judge me. Yes, that's part of it, but then it's something real. So what are some of the signs that you can see in a believer, and this person is burnt out? What kind of signs you can see? Or have you ever at any point felt burnt out spiritually?
If you're going to say what are the signs you want to see from that believer, I don't think you're going to see any. You may see some signs, but now this is on a personal level. I have experienced Christian burnout actually. So on a personal level, it's just this dryness. At some point, it's like you're serving God out of duty, for duty's sake. For duty's sake. And if you're now in a kind of environment where you're not heard, like you're complaining about certain things, but you're not heard, at some point you become detached to your own personality. Like, oh, let me just do these things for the sake of doing them. But that love is not, it becomes routine, and it's not out of the place of love. So one of the signs is that decline in your personal relationship with God. That decline for you personally. So when it comes to, okay, it's time for prayers and all of that, you're like, well, let me just pray so that they will not say I didn't pray. Or let me go to church because my neighbors, I don't want my neighbors to see me as this and all of that. And you know, all those kind of things. It's no longer from the place of intimacy with God. And another thing would be you're easily tired. You're exhausted. You feel underappreciated. And if it's in the case of where you were expecting something from God, you're like, God's promises are taking too long. You suddenly become tired, discouraged. But then you're still showing up in church. And for some persons, when it's not addressed, that's where you see people staying back from church abruptly. They just start coming to church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from what she has said now, I've come to realize that there are people who, even though they are serving in church, involved in activities, they are burnt out. I love what she said, that you may not see any signs. When it happens, then it's already too late. They just stop coming. And those who maybe they've been expecting something and it's taking too long. Everybody expects you to show up strong.
Yeah.
You're waiting, maybe you're waiting on God for children or something. Everyone expects you to, just remember the promise. But some people forget that you're a
The
human
human
being.
side, yeah.
That you're a human being, and sometimes it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when we don't have outlets for this, you don't have anyone to talk to who may not judge you and expect more of
Yeah.
you as a spiritual person. We tend to lock in, and then the next thing you see, the person stop coming. They say this one has fallen out, as backslided.
Yeah.
He has joined the world, but because we don't have that space in the church today to cater for such persons. Okay, so we've seen the signs and what it might look like for a Christian to be burnt out. And we know so many Christians are burnt out in their service to God. Now, we're going to explore what are the things they could do. What can a Christian who is burnt out, what can they do in that phase? Because they love God. They are not doubting God, and they love God, and they wish. Sometimes when they scroll, I see some people's comments on, say, YouTube, maybe in a worship session, they're like, I used to worship God like this, I don't know what happened. Some of them still love God, still want to do those things for God, but they're just in a phase in their life where they want to, but they don't see
can't.
themselves
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah. So what's your advice for such persons? What do you think they should do?
Okay. I'm going to put it this way because yes, we're talking about Christian burnout, but then burnout sometimes also stems from our physical activities, like our jobs sometimes.
Okay.
So we could apply some things, because one thing I did was to rest. Rest can help you recover from a burnout. It's not like depression, because they have sort of kind of a similarity, but it's not like depression where it's a mental problem.
Extreme.
Yeah, you can recover from a burnout by resting. So you have to looking at it now from the Christian perspective. Are you so consumed by activities of service that you've forgotten the place of intimacy with God? Because during that period, I couldn't really talk about it, but then I prayed about it. And one thing the Holy Spirit told me was the cure for my exhaustion is intimacy with Jesus, because I was exhausted. You have to finish from work, you have church demands there, and everything is all choked up.
Pressures on all
So most
sides.
importantly, rest. Yes, you can speak to maybe your ministry head or who is ahead of you. Okay, this is what is going on with me right now. I feel overwhelmed at this particular point. Is there a way I'm not staying off from church. Could I take a break for maybe certain Sundays? Maybe I am not, or someone else could step in.
Do you think there are ministers? Do we have such ministers in this present age who will listen to you with grace and say, okay, that is a thing? Or in fact, 3 days, I'm prescribing 3 days fasts for you. You have started going the way of Zibalam.
Well, let's just say there are ministers like
Of course,
that.
there will be.
There will be.
But we don't have a lot.
But it's scarce.
But one thing you mentioned, speaking or praying to the Holy Spirit, asking the Holy Spirit what to do at that point. It's a very sensitive period in your life, because I feel like that's one point, at the point that the enemy comes in.
Yeah.
Starts speaking to you, because at that point you kind of need counseling.
Yeah,
so it's either from the Holy Spirit, your spiritual leaders, your mentors, and the devil is also trying to chip in his voice to
Yeah.
discourage you altogether. At that point, you start feeling, like you said, underappreciated. You start looking at things like, even upon all I did, yet they don't feel like I'm doing enough and all of that. And before you even finish thinking about it, there's another program dragging you here
Yeah, you
and
have
there.
to be
And so
there.
a lot of things, pressures from all sides. So I think, first of all, like she said, the Holy Spirit, just pray. Pray. Prayer sorts things out. Prayer makes you, encourages you, lifts
Yeah.
your spirit. Sometimes I feel like the biggest advantage of prayer is for ourselves,
Yes, very
because you are
important.
not praying for God. He's God.
Yeah.
You pray for your own self, to exercise your spirit, to lift your spirit in ways you cannot. So
Yeah.
in a time of burnout, I don't think there's so much we can do physically. It's mostly spiritual, and you would need help lifting yourself. So when it comes to pressures, do you think pressures from family, pressures from people, peers can contribute to burnout? Pressures from the
From
church, even let me just come clear. Say some financial pressures also.
yeah.
There are some persons in church, when it comes to contribution, oh, it's time, let's just contribute. They actually love to give to the service of God. But then when it becomes a thing that, oh, let's contribute for, everybody in the church is looking at him,
A
one
particular person.
eye. Everybody's looking at the person. People expect you to keep giving, even in seasons where you don't really have. Yes, you love
Yeah.
giving, but then the demand, it now becomes a pressure on you to keep giving, and they're just tired, and they decide to even run away from the
Okay.
place. So
Well, you're actually responsible for yourself. So you're also responsible for what you allow get to you. There is a place for let me use I don't want to use the word boundary, but there is a place
mm,
for where you become moderate for your own sake. Yes, there is
for your
wisdom,
own sake.
discretion. Yes, just like I said, know when it's time to rest.
mm,
Know when it's time to reduce, not like you're stopping completely, but you reprioritize certain things, you
yeah,
re-strategize just so that you can recover from whatever you're feeling from and bounce back to be
you
productive.
don't break down.
Yes, because when you allow the burnout to be prolonged, it can tend to affect your personal life with your
Mhm.
family. Most people neglect their family because, oh, this is what is staring at me at this particular point, this pressure from church and all of that. For people that are even perfectionists, they just want to be perfect, people that are chasing success
Mhm.
and all of that, it can affect your personal relationship with your family and with all of that. So you just have to sit with yourself, what are these pressures, list them out, have that conversation
Take
with yourself.
stock.
And if possible, if you have close friends, you could share it with them. Okay, this is
Yeah,
what I'm going through. Or you have a spouse or something, this is what I'm going through. Okay, how best do you think? And that's even a good time to have a prayer partner, because to be very honest, at
mm,
that particular time it might be quite difficult to pray because you're exhausted. Yeah, you're exhausted. So at that point you need someone that will also lift you up in prayer. So it's very important you have
very
someone you
important.
can share your burdens with, and the person
Even
will lift you
scripture
up in
says
prayer.
two are better
Yeah.
than one. Yes, you definitely
Yeah.
need someone. That's not a time to be alone. Trust me, you need someone.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, we're going to talk about Christians who feel guilty. There are some people at that phase of their life, they feel guilty. They feel like, oh, am I withdrawing from God? Am I backsliding? Is God angry with me? What do you think God thinks about believers in that phase?
Okay. So I actually read a part of Genesis today where Hagar ran away from Sarah, and the
Hmm.
angel of the Lord appeared to her, and she was like, I have seen the God who sees me. So God sees you. He is very
God
much
sees
interested
you.
in helping you out of that burnout situation you're facing, or whatever situation you're facing.
Yeah.
Now, the deceit of the devil is to tell you you are all alone in this, but you're not alone. You have
You are
God.
not alone.
You have the Spirit of God in you.
Okay, so how about Christians who feel guilty about being withdrawn from God? Like, what does God think about it? And
Okay. It's important to know that guilt is a trap the devil uses to cage you. And it's also important to know that God is very interested in you.
yeah,
He sees you, he knows your struggles. And just like our parents, sometimes maybe they see you struggling with something and they're just waiting for you to say something. When you're worn out and tired, you still pick up your phone. Oh, daddy,
and call.
mommy, this is what I'm going through. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is open up to God. He sees you. You're not alone. So open up to him. And if you have that community of believers where you can share your burdens to, please do so. Do not isolate yourself. Don't
Yeah.
isolate
Do
yourself.
not isolate
Yeah.
yourself. Okay, thank you very much, Queeneth, for
Thank
this,
you.
for
Thank
sharing
you.
these insights with us today. If this conversation blessed you, just quickly share something with us. Share it to your friends. Like, subscribe to our channel. We promise to come up with more interesting episodes on Faith Unfiltered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.